Okay, so also today I want to talk about that situation with Alabama and the Texas A&M game, where the two instances of potential targeting, where the one was not called on Alabama linebacker Lindell Mack Wilson, and the other was called on Texas A&M's Donovan Wilson. And two players who were hit were Speedy Noel on the kickoff return and Damian Harris on his attempt to block a guy or trying to get a guy after the interception. Now, I want to start off by saying I do I believe, think the targeting rule is a good rule. I think what it's trying to do is to encourage people from intentionally trying to hurt each other through hard hits. I think that is really good. I think that we should be attempting to lessen the damage done on these players' bodies. This is a very dangerous sport, and we should not be trying to hit each other's head, cause more CTE, and all these dangerous things that happen. So I think it is a good rule. And I will say that I think targeting definitely could have been called on Lindell Mack Wilson, uh, just for the simple fact of the type of hit it is. And with this type of rule, and a lot of people are always pointing this out, it's gonna be always be inconsistent because of the subjective nature of it. The officials have to make a determination based on what they saw. And then, of course, you factor in stuff like, well, did he intend to? And then some people are like, well, it doesn't matter because he hit him there anyway. There's a lot of things that go into it that we don't think about in the heat of the moment, especially when our team is the one who is on um, the uh, the the bad side of the ruling, which a lot of Texas A&M fans felt when Speedy Noel was hit. So whether or not you're going through all that, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm discussing though is that the circumstances of the two hits were different. And I'll go through them as I've been watching. You can look them up on YouTube. A lot of people have posted them. So I'll start with the Alabama Lindell Mack Wilson hitting Speedy Noel. In this situation, it was a kickoff return. Speedy Noel was returning the ball. He was not defenseless. It was a play where he caught the ball, was returning, was in the process of running. He actually was trying to make a move and evade Wilson, I believe. And Wilson, doing like he's taught to do, came down the field and made the tackle. His tackle was indeed very vicious. It was a hard hit, and I think because of the nature of what Speedy Noel was trying to do, I think he was trying to in a way cut back and like basically slide by, evade, kind of mini juke Wilson. But what that caused him to do was to his body lowered as he was trying to do it, and Lindell Mack Wilson was launching toward him for the tackle, and it hit him, and part of his helmet, his Speedy Noel's helmet. And like I said, they could have called targeting on that. I mean, it's anytime you see a helmet to helmet, people are gonna automatically assume targeting. And we've seen in other games where referees automatically call targeting. So if they had a call targeting, it would have been like, it's like, well, okay, we got a targeting call because the helmet hit the helmet. But the rule is weird because there's a lot of nuances in there. Did he use the crown of the helmet, face mask up toward the receiver? Did he launch himself to his head? There's a lot of things that go into it that make it so subjective. But like I'm saying, it could have been called. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is the situations were different. And in Speedy Noel's case, like I said, his body, due to the nature of him being a runner who's trying to evade tackles, there are going to be certain movements that leave you exposed to certain things. And what he tried to do did leave him open to the type of tackle that Mack Wilson had on him. Now, in Damian Harris's case, he was actually attempting to get the guy after the interception, I believe, and he was being held up by a Texas A&M defensive player who was blocking him, and he kind of gave up on the play. He was just standing there once he knew that it was over, and all of a sudden, the Texas A&M safety Donovan Wilson came out of nowhere and almost just basically blindside hit him, blocking him. Sure, it was a blocking play. And in the old days, that play would have been accepted because they didn't care about player safety as much. But it was a very much a blindside blocking hit that was unnecessary. And I think no matter what fan of a team you are, you have to admit that that hit was unnecessary. Even if he wanted to block him, he didn't have to come in so viciously and do it after Damian Harris had seemingly had given up on the play. Damian Harris was defenseless. His body wasn't prepared or braced to take that hit. That was a bad decision on Donovan Wilson's part. Now, I'm not saying that Lindell Mack Wilson should be so vicious in his hits as well, because I do believe that players should be conscious of how they're hitting someone and and how it could affect them, how it can hurt them physically. I think they should be conscious of that. But what I am saying is that their situations are different, and you have to admit that when you look at those situations. When Lindell Mack Wilson hit Speedy Noel, it was very different from how Donovan Wilson hit Damian Harris. And you have to admit that. Whether or not you think both calls should have been targeting calls or not, that's something different. But you have to admit that those situations are different. And I do believe that Donovan Wilson's hit had much more malicious intent than Lindell Mack Wilson's did on Speedy Noel. I definitely believe both calls could have been targeting. Uh, and based on the rule, they could have called. They definitely could have, based on what the rules say. But I just want to say, don't try to make the situations the same. Don't try to justify one hit and don't justify the other. Don't try to say one was bad and don't try to say the other one wasn't bad. Uh, you do have to admit that the situations were different, and I do believe that Donovan Wilson's hit was much more malicious and actually fits the role of what we would call targeting. He attempted to hit the guy with malicious intent to hurt him, uh, and with that type of blow. Whereas I think Lindell Mack Wilson was coming for a hard hit, but he wasn't going after a defensive player. So that's just something to think about. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know if you agree with what I say. Let me know what you saw from the situations and maybe something that I missed. Uh, Thanks for paying attention. Looking forward to the content.